Good morning, my dear students. So we can continue the revision class of the second chapter in biology, that is tissue. And since our in our last class we have reached up to the connective tissue. We know that in animal tissue there are 4 different categories: epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and nervous tissues are there. And among this epithelial tissues we have studied. Then connective tissue, we are going to discuss about connective tissue, and blood is the most common example for connective tissue. In connective, what are the things, important features of connective tissue? Connective tissues are loosely arranged with and they are having a intercellular matrix. And in the case of blood, it is composed of plasma and blood cells. Plasma is the fluid matrix, and blood cells are WBC, RBC, and platelets. Right, and blood transport different materials throughout our body, like waste materials are being transported, then oxygen and carbon dioxide, the gases transported, then the food material that are digested reach in every part of the cells with the help of blood. So it forms the fluid connective tissue in our body. And the next example is bones. We know that bones gives us strength, and all our body parts are having this strength with the help of this bones. And this bones anchors our muscles and supports the main organs in our body, right? And it is a strong and flexible tissue. Bones are the strong and flexible tissue, and bone cells are embedded in the hard intercellular matrix that are made up of calcium and phosphorus compounds. That is why it is having high strength. Okay, and the next type of connective tissue is ligaments. Ligaments are connected, are the tissue that connects two bones. Two bones are connected by ligaments, and this tissue is very elastic. Okay, and a bone and a muscle is connected by another tissue called tendon. Ligaments have considerable strength, and very minimum little matrix is present in the ligament. But coming to the tendons are very much strong, and they have a limited flexibility. Okay, that is the difference between ligaments and tendons. And there is another connective tissue called cartilages. It smoothens the bone surfaces and joint, and there is a wide space is present between the cartilage cells and the solid matrix, which is composed of proteins and sugars. The solid matrix of cartilages are composed of proteins and sugars, and this kind of cartilages are present in nose, ear, trachea, larynx, etc. And there is another type of tissue called areolar tissue that are present between the skin and muscles, and also around the blood vessels and nerves, and in the bone marrow. The areolar tissue, it supports the internal organs, and it also helps to repair our body. And there is another type of connective tissue called adipose tissue is present, that helps in the storage of fat. We know that beneath the skin the fat is being stored, so it contains fat globules in it. And also, since it is present between the internal organs, it acts as an insulator in our body. Storage of fat make it as an insulator in our body. That is about the different types of connective tissues in our body, which are blood, then bones, ligaments, tendons, cartilages, areolar tissue, and finally adipose tissues. Okay, and then the next one is muscular tissue. Muscular tissue is composed of elongated cells, and hence they are called as muscle fibers. And we know that muscle cells are helping in the movement of our body, right? So the contraction and relaxation movement during the breathing, like that, all the movements in our body are controlled by different muscle cells. So based on the functions, muscle cells are, and where it is present, muscle cells are of different types. Smooth muscles are there, striated muscles are there, and cardiac muscles. These are the three different types of muscles present. And first one, we can study about striated muscle. When we observed under a microscope, we can see dark and light striations, patches in this kind of striated muscles. The cells of the striated muscles are long, unbranched, cylindrical, then multinucleated, etc. Then coming to the smooth muscles. Smooth muscles are present in different parts of the body, like iris of eye, in ureters, and in bronchi of lungs, all that. And the involuntary actions, the contraction and relaxation of blood vessels during the blood flow, then the flow of food, the movement of food through alimentary canal, all those involuntary movements are controlled by the smooth muscles. The cells of these are long with pointed ends and uninucleate. And also they are also called as unstriated muscles or smooth muscle. Then coming to this cardiac muscle, it is present in the heart. The contraction, the rhythmic movement of heart during the contraction and relaxation is controlled by this cardiac muscles. It is also cylindrical, branched, and uninucleate, and it also controls the involuntary action. That is the rhythmic movement of heart. We don't have the control over that. So that is why it is called as an involuntary muscle action is controlled by this cardiac muscle too. Okay, this is about the muscular tissues, different types of muscular tissues. Okay, and then the last one is nervous tissue. This type of nervous tissue are having the stimulating effect. It carries the stimulus from one place to another place of our body. So the stimulus response mechanism is controlled by this nervous tissue in our body. Okay, brain, spinal cord, nerves, all these are composed of this nervous tissue. And the nervous tissue is made up of two parts. Two parts are there for a nervous tissue. A head part, that is a body part, a cell body, and an elongated tail-like part is present. The cells of this nervous tissue is termed as nerve cells or neurons. And there is a cell body present and also a tail-like structure. The cell body consists of with a nucleus and cytoplasm, and long thin hair-like parts will arise from that. Usually from each neuron it has a single long part called axon and many short branches or parts called dendrites. Okay, an individual nerve cell may made up of made up to a meter long. Its size is a meter long. Many nerve fibers bound together by a connective tissue forming a nerve. The signal that passes along the nerve fiber is called as nerve impulse. So this nerve this nerve impulse allow us to move our body parts when we want to do so. So there is a combination between the nerve cells or the nerve tissues and the muscular tissue that makes the fundamental thing of movement in our body. Okay, so there is a close connection between the nervous tissue and muscular tissue, their functions, and this enables us to move as a response to stimuli. Okay, so this is about the nervous tissue. So we have studied about 4 different animal tissues, which are epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue and nervous tissue, and among these 4 there are different types present, right? So this is about this chapter. So this chapter include plant tissues like meristematic tissue, simple permanent tissue, complex tissue, and among this simple permanent tissue, parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma are there, and complex tissues are xylem and phloem. Then animal tissues are these 4. So this is about this chapter. This is a very small and simple chapter, so study this thoroughly. We can conduct 2 series tests based on the previous chapter, that is cell, the fundamental unit of life, and this chapter tissues, and I will inform it in late. Okay, thank you.